I was asked by a few people, what do you think about Raven Johnson snubbing Caitlin Clark? Saw some things on social media. I can't believe Caitlin Clark would snub Raven from one group, and then the other group, I can't believe Raven would snub Caitlin. I didn't talk about it because it wasn't worth talking about.
Look at that frustration. This is someone who's been covering the WNBA for years, watching the same destructive pattern repeat itself. And what she's calling out isn't some minor social media drama, it's a coordinated effort to keep fans perpetually angry, perpetually divided, perpetually miserable. The question is, who benefits when you're too worked up to actually enjoy basketball?
Into this even more this season because I already see what happened last season, and I'm not doing that here. People, and hear me well, people are playing you on purpose, some of them. They want to keep you wee-weed up because it keeps them relevant. Now, when there's something that I feel to call out, if you've been around here long enough, you know I got no problem calling it out. But we have people out there who are looking for a problem. And whenever you're really searching for a problem,
here's what happened. On the first day of Indiana Fever training camp in April 2025, social media exploded over what people started calling HighFiveGate. Some fans claimed Raven Johnson snubbed Caitlin Clark during the traditional post-practice high-five line, other fans claimed it was Caitlin who snubbed Raven. Within hours, both sides had compiled video evidence, written dissertations about body language, and declared war on each other. The problem? None of it was real. The Fever had held a full team meeting 2 days before training camp even started. Caitlin confirmed this herself in interviews. These players had been working together, talking together, running drills together for days, but somehow, a fraction of a second in a high-five line became proof of deep-seated animosity.
Down with HighFiveGate. The rage bait is working a number on some folks. I know it's lucrative. I know it keeps people having eyeballs in front of them. But yeah, no, I didn't have anything to say about it because it's a nothing burger. I'm saying something now because of what I want to talk about today. But again, I want to be clear. This is not the place.
This is the business model. Keep people searching for problems, and they'll find them, even when they don't exist. Because here's the psychological trick. When you're emotionally invested in a narrative, your brain will literally manufacture evidence to support it. That's not a character flaw, that's how human perception works. And there are content creators who understand this perfectly, and exploit it ruthlessly. Think about the economics. A measured take saying, "These teammates seem fine," gets maybe a few hundred views, but a video titled, "Caitlin Clark snubbed by teammate, tension explodes," gets tens of thousands of views within hours. Outrage is profitable. Division is profitable. Misery is profitable.
Relationship they're already building. And yes, that includes Caitlin Clark, of course.
It was good. I learned from a lot of the vets here. I was listening. They were giving me, a good welcoming. They were telling me how training camp was going to be. I thought it was very competitive. But it felt good to be here, honestly, and to play with these talented women. Sophie, Cunningham, Caitlin Clark, Lexie Hall, Kelsey Mitchell. They all great people to be around. They help me when I don't know things. They know the system really well. So I asked them a lot of questions yesterday. I don't know. They probably got to know.
Now, listen to what Raven actually says about her teammates. Pay attention to the specifics. She's naming names, talking about actual conversations, describing real interactions. This is what genuine team chemistry sounds like, not performative social media posts, not carefully crafted PR statements, just a rookie talking about veterans who helped her learn the system. She mentions Kelsey Mitchell, Aliyah Boston, and Lexie Hull specifically. These aren't vague generalizations about the team or my teammates, she's describing actual people who answered actual questions during real practice sessions. She even jokes that she probably annoyed them with how many questions she asked. That's not the behavior of someone navigating a toxic locker room.
We have that out of the way. Let's get into what Raven does extremely well, and that is play defense. Now, if you know me at all, you know I absolutely love defense. I love to play defense. I love to coach defense. When I played, it's like, coach, give me the biggest offensive threat on the floor because I'm on them. Full court, quick hands, quick feet, ready to go. I love it. And when I coached, my teams played unrelenting, unforgiving defense. Full court. And we got lots of cookies, which translated to easy buckets. When you play good defense, it just makes your job easier.
Defense. This is Raven Johnson's calling card, and it's exactly what the Fever needed. Last season, Indiana ranked 23rd in defensive efficiency out of 12 teams. Let that sink in. They were literally dead last in preventing opponents from scoring efficiently. Their transition defense was particularly brutal, allowing easy baskets off turnovers at a rate that made coaches across the league wince. Raven changes that equation immediately. At South Carolina, she was the backbone of a defense that held opponents to just 54 points per game in the 2024 championship season. She averaged 2.3 steals per game, but the real impact showed up in the numbers you don't see on the stat sheet. Opposing point guards shot 11% worse when she was their primary defender. Ball handlers turned it over 18% more often when she was pressuring them full court. Watch this clip carefully. That's not luck, it's anticipation, quick hands, and the kind of defensive intensity that creates easy offense on the other end.
He tries to cross over and she just says, give me that mess, and knocks it free. We need more of that. Let's go.
Yeah, my defense tenacity. I'm like a gnat on the ball. Every time when I get the defense, I want to be the person to turn people over and give my teammates extra positions to shoot the ball or whatever that may be. But yeah, when it comes to
I'm like a gnat on a ball. That's how Raven describes her defensive approach, and if you've ever tried to swat away a gnat that won't leave you alone, you understand exactly what opposing guards are about to experience. This isn't passive defense, where you just stay in front of your assignment. This is aggressive, relentless, exhausting defense that wears down opponents over 40 minutes. The Fever's offensive system depends on pace. Caitlin Clark thrives in transition, where she can push the ball up court and make decisions before the defense gets set. Kelsey Mitchell is deadly in the open court. Aliyah Boston can finish above the rim when she's running the floor, but you can't run if you don't have the basketball. Raven's defensive pressure creates the turnovers that fuel Indiana's transition game.
She was a feisty defender herself. Notice anything? Sure did. Talked about it on her podcast today.
Raven Johnson is a freaking dog. We had our first day of training camp, and I just love her. I think she's going to be fantastic, great defensive player, just a really sweet girl and a great teammate so far. So I'm a big fan.
And here's Sophie Cunningham, who made the all-defensive second team last season, giving Raven the ultimate compliment: she's a dog. Coming from Sophie, that means something. This isn't polite rookie hazing or manufactured praise for the cameras. Sophie plays the same style of defense that Raven brings. She recognizes a kindred spirit. Notice what Sophie emphasizes: not just the defense, but music, the teammate part. Great teammates so far. That matters, because defense is contagious. One player who commits to that end of the floor raises the standard for everyone else. When your point guard is diving for loose balls and pressuring full court, it's harder for your teammates to take possessions off. So, let's connect all of this back to where we started: the rage bait, the manufactured controversies. Music, the constant search for drama. Here's what that ecosystem is designed to make you miss: the actual basketball is fantastic right now. We waited nearly 2 years to see Caitlin Clark play professional basketball again. She played just 13 games in 2024 before her rookie season ended, 13 games. For almost 2 years, we've been waiting to watch her run an offense, make those passes that shouldn't be possible, and push the pace the way only she can. And now that she's back, now that we finally get to watch this team compete, some people are determined to be miserable about everything except the basketball. Think about that psychology for a second. You claim to be a fan of a player, but you spend more time analyzing handshakes than analyzing pick-and-roll coverage. You claim to support a team, but you're more interested in finding evidence of locker room drama than discussing how the roster construction improved. That's not fandom, that's addiction to outrage. The content creators who feed this addiction know exactly what they're doing. They understand that anger is a more powerful engagement driver than joy. They know that a controversial take gets shared more than an insightful breakdown. They've discovered that keeping you upset keeps you watching, keeps you commenting, keeps you coming back. And they don't care that it's making you miserable, because your misery is making them money. Here's the test. When was the last time you finished watching WNBA content and felt genuinely happy? Not vindicated because someone confirmed your grievances, not fired up because someone validated your anger, actually happy, excited about basketball, enthusiastic about watching these athletes compete. If you can't remember, you might be consuming poison instead of entertainment. The Fever added Raven Johnson to address their biggest weakness. They added a defensive specialist who can pressure the ball, create turnovers, and fuel their transition offense. That's smart roster construction. That's a front office identifying a problem and solving it. And if you're spending more time worrying about who did or didn't high-five whom music, you're missing the actual story. Raven asked veterans questions during practice. She learned the system from Kelsey Mitchell, Lexie and Aliyah Boston. She impressed Sophie Cunningham with her defensive intensity. These are all positive developments that suggest a healthy team culture, but positive developments don't generate the same engagement as manufactured controversy, so they get ignored by the rage merchants. The choice is yours. You can keep consuming content that makes you angry, that feeds you conspiracy theories about teammate relationships, that convinces you to see problems that don't exist. Or you can consume content that actually analyzes basketball, that breaks down schemes and rotations and matchups, that treats these athletes like professionals instead of characters in a soap opera. Because here's the reality, the people profiting from your anger don't actually care about Caitlin Clark, or the Indiana Fever, or the WNBA. They care about views, clicks, and engagement metrics. They've figured out that keeping you perpetually upset is more profitable than helping you enjoy basketball, and as long as you keep watching, they'll keep manufacturing reasons for you to be miserable. The 2025 WNBA season is here. Real basketball is happening. The Fever have a legitimate chance to compete. Caitlin Clark is healthy and ready to play. Raven Johnson brings elite defense. The roster is deeper and more balanced than last year. These are all reasons to be excited. So the question is, are you going to enjoy this season, or are you going to spend it being manipulated by people who profit from your outrage? Are you going to watch basketball, or are you going to watch manufactured drama? Are you going to be a fan, or are you going to be a customer in the rage economy? If you're here for actual basketball analysis, for genuine discussion about schemes, matchups, and player development, then you're in the right place. If you're here looking for someone to validate your anger and tell you which teammates secretly hate each other, this probably isn't going to work for you, and that's fine. Not every channel is for every person, but if you made it this far, if you're still watching 17 minutes in, then you're probably someone who actually wants to enjoy basketball. You're probably tired of the constant negativity. You're probably ready to focus on what happens on the court instead of what might have happened in a 3-second interaction that got blown completely out of proportion. So here's what I'm asking. Decide right now what kind of fan you want to be this season, the kind who finds joy in watching elite athletes compete, or the kind who finds problems in every interaction and drama in every gesture. Because you can't be both. One of those paths leads to genuine enjoyment of the sport, the other leads to being perpetually miserable while making other people rich. Choose wisely. The season is just beginning, and it's going to be a great one, if you let it be. Drop a comment and let me know, are you here for basketball, or are you here for drama? Because that answer will determine whether you enjoy the next 5 months, or spend them angry about handshakes.